So the Ethiopian, he is the Ethiopian paleoanthropologist. He says that we have to decolonize the paleoanthropology. What does he mean by that? He's referring to Lucy. Now, those of you who don't know Lucy, actually on November 24, not exactly 150 years ago from now, 1974, a renowned American paleoanthropologist Donald Johnson spotted a piece of elbow with human-like anatomy poking out a rocky hillside in northern Ethiopia. It was the first fossil, a practical skeleton belonging to Lucy. That is the name those the white people, the researchers gave it, but the Ethiopian name is actually her Ethiopian. It's a woman, and her Ethiopian name is Dinkenesh. So you are wonder. So an ancient female hominin who took the story of human evolution back beyond 3 million years for the first time. It's actually this skeleton was it's 40%. 40% it full fills the skeleton of female of the hominin species. Okay, it's called Australopithecus afarensis. It was discovered in 1974 in Ethiopia at Hadar. It a place in Awash Valley of the Afar Triangle in the northern part of Ethiopia. Now, what does this Ethiopian anthropologist is trying to tell us by saying decolonize paleoanthropology? Okay, so let's go into it. He's saying this, as any part, any areas in the continent has been decolonized as also. How so? Here is the thing. Now, actually, this is the 100th anniversary of the discovery of the tongue child, a fossilized skull in South Africa. That was a key in our understanding that ancient humans first evolved in Africa. Okay, that was their starting point. So something we now take for granted. Yet, despite largely centering on the African continent as the cradle of mankind, the narrative of hominin fossil discovery is striking for its lack of African scientists. This is why he meant, this is what he meant by decolonize the paleoanthropology. Now, in this week's episode of this article is from The Conversation. So it's a podcast taken with this researcher scientist, this anthropologist. His name is Johannes Haile Selassie. He's a leading Ethiopian paleoanthropologist, and he explains why the story of ancient human origins is so Western-centric and why this needs to change. I mean, it's really interesting how in every area we have to decolonize what is colonized. I mean, there's almost nothing that's not colonized. Even our, not even that's the biggest part actually, our own mind is colonized. Okay, so now let's dive into it with him. So Johannes Haile Selassie says that many of the fossils that made Western scientists famous were actually discovered by local Africans who were only acknowledged at the end of a scientific publication. Here are his words. For a long time, African scholars were never part of telling the human story, nor could they actively participate in the analysis of the fossils they found. Up to the 1990s, long after Lucy was found, we were only present in the form of laborers and fossil hunters. Haile Selassie is now director of the Institute of Human Origins at Arizona State University in the United States. In the decades after Lucy's discovery, he was responsible for some of the most remarkable ancient human fossil finds in his home country of Ethiopia, including that of Ardipithecus kadaba in 1997. He recalls that memorable moment. In his own words, part of the jaw was just lying there on the surface. Deep inside, something immediately told me I had found the earliest human ancestor, more than 5 million years old. The thought made me go numb for a few seconds. Literally, no hominin fossil from that age had ever been discovered before. Look at this. This is a picture of children watching Lucy. But Haile Selassie warns that for research to continue unearthing such important fossils in Ethiopia and across Africa, a major change in the support for African institutions and scientists is needed in order to decolonize paleoanthropology. Quote, to make progress in the future, African paleosciences has to be one of the agenda items that we need to talk about. Without that, we just can't continue making progress in Ethiopia or in Tanzania or in Kenya or in South Africa, right? It cannot be dominated like old days by foreign researchers. The old times have gone, he's telling us. Such increased support, he says, could lead to important discoveries in parts of Africa that to date have not yielded ancient hominin fossils. Quote, there are so many areas in Africa that haven't been explored. Now, people are thinking about exploring West Africa for human ancestors. They might end up finding fossils in there as well. And that's why we need to have a firm foundation established so the next generation of African scientists doesn't have to deal with the lack of infrastructure that we faced. Now, on the other hand, the anthropologist also warns us the lack of Western investment in African institutions could lead to restrictions being imposed on future exploration. He suggests countries in Africa may make their antiquity flows tighter in terms of who is allowed to research there in future. So he is, at least asking that what happened in his time should not be repeated. He says those Africans have there been before those white researchers. In fact, they're the one who found it, but it is the white man that takes the credit. Often in the publication, the Black people are only given credited as laborers. He's saying that needs to change. More and more white researchers now are interested to do such exploration in other parts of Africa because it was in the eastern part and then less in the southern part. Now these explorers are going to do it in the West Africa. They might find there as well, but whose name will be registered? Again, what happened in East Africa, in Ethiopia, will happen there. So he's saying for African countries to organize and mobilize and have a firm foundation and then have a tight check in who they are letting in and who they are not letting in. And they have to, empower their own scientists. If there's no scientist in that specific African country, then at least bring those who advanced in other African countries. And to do it, we should own our own narrative, our own things. Otherwise, we have all the things, they just come and give it a name, and that's it. They take the credit. Decolonize the paleoanthropology is what this Ethiopian scientist, Johannes Haile Selassie, is telling us. I hope we all have got the message and we do accordingly. The thing is, yeah, do we even, I don't even think that most African countries care about this kind of thing, but it should be done. We try to invite anthropologists or the scientists here at Connect Africa for further discussion on the topic. But thank you very much for tuning in. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give it a like, and as well share the video with others. Do not keep the information only to yourself. Please hit that notification bell so that you will be notified whenever there is a new video uploaded and there is a live stream. You may please support us through our PayPal account as well. Thank you very much, and it's a bye-bye for me for now.